What if the scariest test your species ever faces doesn't arrive as fire and screaming, but as a very polite demand and a room with tea? It's a strange thought, isn't it, that the moment everyone expects to be the big cinematic last stand could actually be a quiet argument over data logs and legal codes under soft lights with neutral observers watching. So get comfortable however you like, because we're going down under the surface of Earth into the Soul Defense Coordination Center, where you are not a hero pilot or a famous diplomat. You're an analyst at a screen, watching as hundreds of Varrin warships drop into perfect formation beyond Pluto, and waiting to see if your species will panic or do something much stranger. You feel it before you see it. The Sol system is busy tonight. Shipping lanes shine like slow rivers. Stations turn with calm rhythm. Civilian traffic moves in quiet lines around Earth, yet feels routine, almost gentle. Then the alerts start coming in, far beyond Pluto. Sensors pick up a pattern. Ships, many ships, dropping out of faster-than-light lanes in tight formation. Power signatures heavy and sharp. Hulls shaped for war, not trade. The Varrin Compact has arrived at the edge of Sol. You sit at your post in the Soul Defense Coordination Center, deep under layers of structure and shielding. You are not a warrior. You are an analyst, a systems thinker. You watch patterns in traffic, in behavior, in data. You watch for drift and pressure, for tiny signs that say something is being pushed gently towards something worse. Your screen fills with new contacts, hundreds of them. Varrin warships hold perfect ranks like a metal storm, waiting. You feel your heart speed up. Then you do what you were trained to do. You breathe, you watch, you wait for the signal. On the main feed, you see Admiral Desai stand a little straighter. She does not shout. She does not rush. Her voice is clear and level as she gives the oldest question in Soul Defense, the one that has turned many panicked days into calm ones. Do we have tea? Around you, the center shifts into a different mode. Not battle mode, not surrender. Something else. Slower, more careful, built over decades of mistakes and lessons. You know, in that small quiet space inside your chest, that this day will be told and retold for centuries. A great fleet has come to your home, asking for tribute and control. You are going to answer with process, with hospitality, and with proof. And it starts with tea. The first full images arrive from the outer system arrays. The Varrin fleet hangs in the dark, beyond Neptune's orbit, close to the thin edge of Sol's patrol grid. Hundreds of ships wait there, all shapes you have studied in training, but never seen. So close, long spears of armored hull, wide disc carriers with layered fields. Spur-shaped escort craft pressed tight around them like bodyguards. Every ship holds position with harsh precision. With harsh precision. With harsh precision. No drift, no relaxed arcs. They choose a posture of threat, and they hold it without shame. You sit in the coordination center, lights dimmed for long focus. The room is round, layered in levels, with the Admiral's post at the heart. Around you, analysts, officers, and support staff work in quiet lines. Voices stay low, steady. It feels more like a control room for a large experiment than for a war. On the main display, data ticks in, distances, mass, power output, vector patterns. You filter the incoming feed, letting your training carry you. You look for anomalies. You look for strange timing in their arrival points. You look for outside signals that do not match declared Varrin channels. At first glance, everything about the fleet says control, but that is exactly what makes you uneasy. Admiral Priya Desai stands in the center, under a soft ring of light. Her hair is streaked with silver, tied back. Her uniform is simple, neat, without extra marks. She reads the scrolling feed of translated Varrin Demands on her private line. Her jaw tightens for a moment. Then her eyes flick to Helen Chaw's icon on the side display, still in a different part of the station, waiting. Then she speaks. Status, she says. Commander Sado Kimura, head of data integrity, answers first. Outer system grids are stable. No weapons charged on our side. Passive scans only. Their field levels are at sustained combat ready, but targeting arrays are not locking yet. Civilian traffic already shifting, another officer says. Mars and Belt convoys rerouted behind shadow paths. Luna approaches slowed. No panic spikes in public channels yet. You add your own summary to the shared channel. Pattern match against past Varrin arrivals at vulnerable systems. Formation is textbook intimidation, not surprise. Strike. They want to be seen this way. Priya glances at your note and gives the smallest nod. She trusts you. That trust carries weight inside you. You sit a little straighter. Her next words are calm, almost casual. We are not going to give them the fight they came prepared for, she says. We will answer as a stable system, not a frightened target. Initiate full protocol. And do we have tea? There it is. The room feels different at once. The tea question is old. Defense shorthand. It means we will not rush. We will not match aggression with matching aggression. We will slow time down, gather oversight, and turn this into a process. A logistics officer's voice comes back, light and almost amused. Tea is confirmed, Admiral. Clark Gateway can host in 3 hours. Neutral monitors already. En route from the inner relay. Someone near you lets out a slow breath. The choice is made. Priya turns to the main room. Transmit standard acknowledgement to the Varrin fleet, she says. Use formal compact etiquette. No extra warmth, no extra edge. Offer an in-person session on Clark Gateway under neutral observation. Make it clear that any presence in system beyond their current position will be treated as a violation of long-standing agreements. She pauses, then adds, and schedule public feeds. If they want a stage, we give them a fair one. On your side console, the Varrin Demands scroll past your eyes, translated from their tight, layered language. They request inspection rights over Sol's defensive structures. They demand tribute in raw elements and service rights. They insist on placing a permanent oversight group on Luna for stability. Your first reaction is anger. It flashes up hot, then cools as your training steps in. Anger narrows vision. You open timelines of previous compact security actions across the past century. You overlay them with known trade shifts, corridor changes, and minor crises. The pattern is neat. Too neat. The compact moves in when targets reach certain stress points. It feels less like strategic genius and more like someone tapping the same rhythm again and again. Priya's voice cuts into your focus. Analyst, she says, using your title, not your name. That means this is a formal question. In your judgment, are they here to actually occupy Sol, or to test in posture? You speak clearly, the way you practiced. Their formation and demands line up with a pressure event, not a full conquest. They likely expect quick human panic, rapid concessions, and maybe a single dramatic strike to show power. Long-term rule over Sol would be costly and slow for them. This is about image, especially toward other young systems. The room listens. Your words travel to shared displays, added as analyst assessment. Priya nods, satisfied. So we treat it as a test, not just of our ships. She opens a line to Helen Cho, who appears as a calm face on the side display. Helen wears a plain diplomatic shirt with no bright marks. Her dark hair is tied back in the same simple style she has used for years. Her presence alone steadies your pulse. Helen, Priya says, they want tribute and oversight on Luna. I want to give them something else. I want to give them a room on Clark Gateway, hot drinks, neutral eyes, and more data than they planned for. Helen smiles a little. I thought you might say that. I have studied their legal code again this morning. They cannot resist a chance to show how orderly they are, especially in front of monitors. Priya's own smile is brief but warm. Good. Take our analyst here with you. I want their eyes on the patterns you show. This is not only a diplomatic incident. This is also an investigation. You have worked with Helen's team before, but never at this level. You send a quick acknowledgement. Understood. I will bring the cross-system interference data and last century compact movement records. Priya paces the center ring once, slow and thoughtful. Around her, the room holds its quiet focus. We will not raise our own main guns unless they break neutral law, she says. Instead, we make the whole thing visible. Public transmission of every claim and counterclaim. Every timeline, every agreement, every deviation. No shadows to hide in. You think of the simple question that started this plan. Do we have tea? You had watched old training clips of leaders rushing into fear, into glory, into speeches about honor and survival. You had seen how those choices sent ships to pointless deaths. Priya's choice is not dramatic. It is almost boring. It is checklists, law, and shared records, and yet you feel, deep down, that this boring choice may be the bravest kind. Orders roll out. Shuttles are scheduled to carry Helen's team to Clark Gateway. Station protocols update to neutral engagement mode. That means complete logs, shared feeds, and real-time verification of every sensor report by independent observers. You start building the packet Helen will need. Past compact actions, overlaid with strange interference patterns from deep space. Weak, odd noise in the supply lanes. Tiny drifts in navigation beacons, incidents that looked like bad luck, piracy, or human error. Put together, they look less like chance and more like something playing with roots and tempers. You do not know what that something is yet, but you know how it acts. It nudges. It exaggerates. It leans on those who are easiest to predict. The Varrin Compact, with its habit of strong security actions, is very easy to predict as the coordination center settles into its long, patient work. You look once more at the image of the distant fleet. All that mass and metal, all that history of fear and power, hanging like a storm cloud at the edge of your sky. You are not going to fight it with a bigger storm. You are going to invite it to a table. Clark Gateway Station floats at a balanced point between Earth and the Moon, held in the gentle grip of their shared gravity. From the outside, it looks like a turning ring with smaller docks blooming from its rim. Light moves slowly along its spine as shuttles come and go. And from the inside, as your shuttle docks, it feels like a patient heart. Nothing rushes. People walk with steady steps. Air flows warm and clean. You can feel the quiet discipline of a place built for both commerce and hard talks. You follow Ambassador Helen Cho through a curved corridor toward the meeting level. Her pace is unhurried. She carries a small tray in her hands with a polished tea service from Earth, metal shining softly under the station lights. It feels almost silly, bringing tea to a face-off with a war empire. But you know the meaning. Tea is not a symbol of softness here. It is a symbol of time. Tea takes water, heat, patience. You cannot drink it too fast without burning your tongue. You cannot rush it without losing flavor. Tea forces a slower rhythm. Neutral monitors from 3 different neighboring powers wait in side rooms, their own staff busy with instruments that will record every second of the meeting. They have no interest in lying for humans or Varrin. Their job is to watch and confirm. The meeting room chosen is simple and clear. 3 glass walls look out onto space. The 4th is a plain interior wall with a single entrance. The chairs are all the same design. The table is long and white with no symbols or decorations. There is nowhere to hide and no place to gain special height over the others. Helen sets the tea tray carefully at the center of the table. She adjusts each cup so they sit in neat lines. Her hands are steady. You connect your tablet to the room's shared display channel. But this time, unlike in many past talks, every data layer will also feed out to the neutral monitors and into a public log. You cannot remove or edit anything later without it being seen. You like that. Admiral Varu steps in first, wearing a dark uniform with firm lines, marked by simple rank bands. The Varrin have a tall, slightly heavy build, with pale skin that picks up the station light. Varys' eyes move over the room with sharp care. Behind Varu come 2 senior staff and 3 aides, each carrying small, active cases of their own. Their faces hold pride, but not open anger. They came here expecting to win. Not to scream, Helen steps forward and bows at the exact angle. Varrin law calls respect without submission. Her voice is gentle and even. Admiral Varu. She says thank you for accepting our request for a meeting under neutral observation. You have come far. Please sit. We have prepared tea in a style widely appreciated. Varus' gaze touches the tea, then Helen, then the glass walls that show the curve of Earth in the distance. Finally, Varu nods and sits at the center seat. On the far side, the rest of the Varrin delegation takes their places beside their leader. Helen sits opposite Varu. You sit at her right hand with your tablet and notes. On Helen's left is Commander Sato, representing data integrity for Sol. Neutral monitor feeds light up in soft tones around the room as they lock in. Varu speaks first. The translator softly renders the layered Varrin words. Sol has grown faster than projected, with weaponry not declared in earlier treaties. Our compact holds duty to maintain stable order. We are here to perform inspection, correct imbalance, and install watching presence to prevent future risk. Their tone is calm, as if they are explaining safe building codes. To them, this is maintenance, not threat. Helen nods slowly, as if she is listening to a long, patient story. We have read your claims and your legal basis, she says. We are ready to discuss each one. But before that, we believe there is a deeper layer to your recent actions across multiple systems. We wish to share what we have found under the eyes of our shared monitors. You tap your tablet, sending the first prepared data pack to the display feed. A map of local space appears. Lines showing major trade corridors and known power borders. Small marks show locations of past Varrin security actions. The pattern is clear. Points flare along weak peripheries, at the edges of smaller systems, always when those systems hit certain growth and stress thresholds. We respect your internal doctrine, Helen says. You believe firm shows of force can prevent larger wars. We do not agree, but we understand. Our concern, Admiral, is that your pattern of interventions has been unnaturally regular. Too regular to be explained by your own doctrine or by random chance. Varus' eyes narrow a fraction. Our discipline produces clear patterns. They answer. We do not see a problem with that. You cue the second layer. Over the pattern of actions, faint waves appear, almost like bruises in space-time. These marks show long-term interference signatures from deep space instruments, tuned to pick up tiny distortions in comm and nav bands. These are interference readings from multiple, independent arrays, Helen says, some of them under Sol control, some under neighbors, some under smaller research groups, all of them verified by our monitors in this room. Independent monitors quietly confirm with soft tones on the side channels. No one objects. Notice the timing, you say, into the shared channel, keeping your voice even. Each time the interference peaks along a lane near a mid-level civilization, within 10 years the Varrin Compact sends a fleet to perform a security action there. In most cases, the trigger event seems like a local accident or act of piracy, but the fine details suggest prior signal tampering. Varus' second in command, a sharp-faced officer, leans forward. You suggest we respond to manipulated incidents, they say. That still speaks to our vigilance. Someone makes trouble, we solve it. This does not make us guilty. Helen lifts her cup of tea, but does not drink yet. We are not calling you guilty, she says gently. We are calling you predictable. The word lands quietly in the room. You are strong, she continues. You are disciplined. You are proud. But you are also very, very easy to anticipate. If someone wanted to increase fear of the compact across nearby space, how would they do it? They would not attack your core. They would not meet you in open war. They would instead nudge younger systems into small crises at times and places where your own doctrine requires that you respond. You send another layer to the feed. Short timelines slide into view, each showing a different system. A mining accident made worse by falsified emergency signals. A pirate raid that hit exact cargo at the worst time. A navigation failure that pushed a patrol ship into a restricted zone. Along each timeline, faint interference spikes appear, then Varrin responses, then long periods of higher fear and tighter trade terms under compact cooperation. Varus' jaw tightens. You accuse us of being tools, they say. Helen finally takes a slow sip of tea, as if to measure her next words against its warmth. We are saying that there is evidence of a hidden influence acting through the shared lanes and bands, she says. This influence has made use of your habits, the way weather makes use of a river's fixed path. It pushes here, nudges there, knowing your response has clear shape. It does not make you weak. It makes you exposed. The neutral monitors speak up in turn, confirming each source as it shows. Verified. 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 You watch Varus' face carefully. Pride fights with curiosity. Their empire lives on the idea that it is in charge of events. To be told that someone has been making use of them for centuries strikes at that story. Sato joins in, his tone as dry as always. We have cross-checked the interference data across multiple bands and independent arrays. He says, it is not local equipment failure. It moves. It studies. It learns. When a pattern works, it repeats that pattern over decades. Varus' aide frowns. If this is true, they say, why do you bring this to us now? Why not make weapons against this influence and fight it in secret? Why invite your possible aggressor into the same room as your findings? Helen sets her cup down gently with a soft sound. Because secrecy is its best ally, she says. As long as every empire believes it acts alone and controls its own story, this hidden actor can play us against each other. If we respond by building new secret tools, it wins again. It gains more confusion, more pressure, more noise. She gestures lightly to the tea between them. We suggest taking time. We suggest shared data in front of neutral eyes. We suggest that before you demand oversight on Luna, we perform a joint oversight of the lanes and bands themselves. You feel the meeting reaching its careful point. This is where some talks in history broke into anger and threats but chest-bone anger and threats. But the room, with its glass walls and silent monitors, holds a quieter spirit. Varu looks from Helen to the tea, to the data, and then to the live feed from their own ships in the distant darkness. You see a flicker of calculation there. You want a joint threat assessment, Varu says at last. You want us to accept that our fleet, now at your edge, could be acting based on guidance placed by this influence. You answer this time. We want to see if such guidance is present now, you say. Our sensors have seen faint signs at the rim near your arrival point. We did not wish to accuse you in secret. We wanted you here to see it. At the same time, we do. Helen nods. Admiral, she says, voice soft but firm. This is not about blaming you. It is about offering you a chance to step out of a pattern that makes you useful to someone else. She slides a small sealed drive across the table. It stops near Varus' hand. This holds raw data from solar rays and from neighboring systems, she says. You may run it through your own machines. The neutral monitors already have copies. If we are lying, you may use this fact to shame us in front of the whole network. If we are not, then you have a choice. Varu studies the drive as if it is something strange. What choice? They asked. Helen smiles, just a little. There is no mockery in it, only a calm certainty. The choice to be less predictable, she says. The choice not to act exactly as something out there has planned for you to act. Starting now, in this system, at this table, with this tea, you feel the room hold its breath. Outside the glass, Clark Gateway turns slowly above the blue curve of Earth. Far beyond that, at the edge of Sol, a great fleet waits, shaped for war and trained to move in clear, simple rhythms. In front of you, a tray of tea waits as well, surface still hot, gentle steam lifting into the quiet air. Varus' hand moves. At last, it does not reach for a weapon. It reaches for the drive. 6. They take it, weigh it, then set it carefully in front of them. Then, after a slow moment, they reach for a cup of tea. Show us, Varu says. If this influence exists, we will see it for ourselves. If you have trapped us in clever lies, we will respond with full compact strength, but we will not refuse data. Tea clinks softly as cups are lifted around the table. In that small sound, you feel the shape of the future bend, just a little, away from the easy path of fear and into something slower, fuller, and far more interesting. You exhale, steady, and begin pulling up the live interference feeds from the edge of Sol, ready to look together for the hidden hand that has been nudging empires for centuries. The first sign is small. You sit in the same glass-walled room on Clark Gateway. Only an hour after the tea meeting, the Varrin data teams have linked their secure feeds with the station's systems under the sharp eyes of neutral monitors. Every packet of data is tagged, tracked, and backed up in 3 different places. You and Commander Sato share a side console, running live comparisons between Sol sensors and Varrin ship readings. Helen stands nearer the center table with Admiral Varu, still speaking in calm, low tones about doctrine and law. A quiet alert flashes at the edge of your screen, not an alarm. Just a soft flag that you set yourself years ago. Minor anomaly on Varrin Channel 7, you say. Voice level. Source, one of their outer escort ships. Varu glances over. We do not fake anomalies during joint observation, they say. A bit stiff. I know, you answer. That is why this matters. On your display, a faint pattern appears in the sensor data from the Varrin escort. Tiny, steady distortions riding on top of normal background noise. They match a shape you have spent months studying. Your throat goes dry. Sato, you say softly. Confirm my view, please. Sato leans in. His fingers move over the console, calling up raw numbers, stripping off layers until only the base signal remains. The shape stays. He frowns. That is not normal ship noise, he says. Cross-check against our archive pattern. You tap a few keys. The interference signature you showed earlier, the same one from past incidents in other systems, appears next to the live data from the Varrin escort. They match, not perfectly, but close enough to be family. Admiral Varu, you say. Louder now. We are seeing an active interference shape on one of your ships. It is similar to the pattern linked to past crisis events. Varus aides stiffen. One of them reaches for a wrist control, probably to send a tight signal to their fleet. A neutral monitor raises a hand. All ship commands must be logged through shared channels during this session, the monitor says calmly. No private military updates without record. Varus' jaw tightens. We will not sit while someone tampers with our vessels, they say. Helen steps between the rising tensions with a small gesture. Admiral, she says, we are not asking you to sit. We are asking you to let us look together before anyone fires weapons or makes sudden moves. You feel the whole room balance on that request. After a moment, Varu gives a stiff nod. Show us your analysis, they say. We will verify with our own teams. You pull the live feed into the main display so everyone can see. The Varrin escort ship appears as a simple outline with numbers running beside it. Over its comm and sensor lines, the faint interference shape shivers like a broken wave. It curls around navigational beacons and long-range scan results, always just above the normal noise floor. Sato brings up the station's own sensor logs from a different angle in space. Clark Gateway's instruments show the same weird pattern seen from afar. So it is not a trick inserted into your data stream after it left the ship. Sato says, it is there in the raw space between us. A Varrin tech officer patched in from the fleet by secure channel appears on a small projection above the table. Their voice carries a mix of anger and awe. We are seeing it inside our own hull as well, they say. It sits between subsystem reports. It does not match any known compact tech. It feels designed to hide. The word hangs in the air. Helen does not look pleased or triumphant. She looks sad and calm. This is the same class of interference that appeared before past accidents in other systems, she says. If we are right, then it is active now, inside your formation, near our system. Varus' gaze cuts to her. You think we came here because something nudged us? Helen shakes her head. You came here because you are proud, strong and sure of your role, she says. But the timing of your move, the path you took through the lanes, may have been made easier by someone adjusting signals, feeding tension, and giving you reasons that felt solid. You add, we are not saying your choices were fake. We are saying someone may have gently tilted the floor. Silence sits heavy for a moment, then Sato clears his throat. We need a plan, he says. Talking will not remove this thing from your ship, and if it is sitting on one escort, it may be sitting on others, or on our own routes. Barris, second in command, leans forward. What do you propose? They ask. If we cut comms, we blind ourselves. If we move, we might trigger whatever this is. Helen turns to the neutral monitors. We request that all parties agree, on record, to pause any aggressive movement or weapons charge while we perform a joint sweep. She says, if anyone breaks this pause, all logs will show it. The monitors nod in turn. Agreed from our side, one says. We will transmit the pause to our home states as well. Varu hesitates, then gives a sharp nod. The compact fleet will hold position, they say. We will not move closer to Sol, nor fire, as long as no hostile act is taken against us. This is temporary and conditional. Helen inclines her head. Sol forces will also hold, she says. No new weapon locks, no surprise maneuvers. You watch as Sato sets the agreement into the joint record. It feels fragile, but real. Next, Sato says, voice gaining a bit of force, we run a sweep along the visible interference vectors. We use human long-range analytics to model the field, and compact long-range assets to scan deep in the directions we cannot reach alone. Varu eyes you trust us to scan your system's outer reaches. They ask, you meet their gaze. We trust that you care about not being used, you say. Our data is open to you. Your data will be open to us, and all of it will be open to the monitors. There will be no secret channels for this operation. That last part clearly stings, but Varu nods once. Very well, they say. We will assign 3 deep scan cruisers to your vector plan. Their raw feeds will be mirrored here. The room shifts around this new shared purpose. Staff who are ready for hard talk now lean over consoles, calling up mapping tools and signal filters. Station techs patch channels from Varrin ships into Clark's own analysis grid. You work fast, but not frantic. Your fingers move in patterns you know by heart. Here, you say, pointing to the display. The interference on the escort is not just random, it has a direction. See these tiny phase shifts? They lean toward a point in space, like a compass needle. Sato nods. Trace it back, he says. Over the last 24 hours, then 48, then a week. Lines form on the shared map, curving gently from the Varrin fleet's path backward into the solar system. You overlay similar lines from older sensor data, the faint spikes that showed up on Sol arrays over the past months. They converge near a thick band of marks between Mars and Jupiter, the asteroid belt. You say quietly. More specifically, a debris region near an old mining zone. There have been a few accidents reported there over the last 50 years. We have no assets in that zone, they say. No declared bases, no formal interest. Which makes it a good hiding place, Soto answers. Lots of rocks. Lots of natural noise. Plenty of places to hide small devices that watch traffic and send subtle signals. Helen turns to the monitors. We request permission to label this a joint operation zone, she says. Humans and Varrin both. Under your live watch. No side claims it. No side can plant things there without record. The monitors confer for a few seconds, then nod. Granted, their lead says, joint zone status logged. Varu touches a control on the table. Fleet, they say, stand by to dispatch 3 deep scan ships along the provided vectors to coordinates near the Sol asteroid belt. You will hold fire under all conditions unless explicit joint command is given in this room. All feeds will run live to neutral monitors. A soft chime sounds as the order is logged on all recorders. Sato gives you a brief look. You will ride along on our side, he says. Stay on the analytics. I want your eyes on every frame. You nod. Yes, Commander. Hours pass with slow tension as the Varrin deep scan ships move inward along the agreed paths. They do not have faster than light inside the system, so they glide at high sublight, main drives hot but weapons cool. Sol tracking watches them from several angles, measuring every burn on your screens. Data flows like a quiet river. The interference fields grow clearer as the ships approach the marked region. It is like moving toward the heart of a quiet storm. But you refuse images like that. You stay with numbers and graphs. There, you say. Sector D19 relative. Strong rise in pattern density. It is not just on the lanes. It is coming from fixed points. Sato highlights several coordinates. Compact cruiser V. 7. Adjust your scan focus to grid positions here, and here, he says into the joint channel. Use low energy sweeps only. We do not want to tip off whatever is there if it still responds. Varu watches the live feeds, face drawn tight. They say nothing, but their fingers press hard against the edge of the table. The cruiser scans come back with sharp resolution. Shapes emerge from the static. They are small compared to warships, no bigger than heavy cargo containers, but larger than simple probes. They float among broken rock and old mining scrap. Coated in layers of dust and ice, arrays of tiny antennae jut from their surfaces like frozen spikes, angled in clever patterns toward major traffic lanes. You count them, 23 primary nodes, he say, plus at least 50 small reflectors or boosters scattered in a wide net. This is not a random drift of wreckage. This is a built network. Sato stiffens. Stealth relay array, he says. Designed to nud, to push signals, twist nav data, maybe fake distress calls. You zoom in on one of the main devices. It carries no clear marks of ownership. Its design is a mix of familiar and strange. Bits of tech that look Varrin, bits that look like small state designs. bits that look like pirate rigs. It has been patched and upgraded many times, you say, by different hands, different groups. Var's voice is low. Some of those power couplings are compact design, they admit. Obsolete, but ours. Others are from minor states we have sanctioned in the past. Some I do not recognize at all. Helen's face is still, but her eyes look heavy. Can we access its logs? She asks. Sato sends the request to the Varrin cruiser and to Sol's own standby ship, moving toward the belt from the other side. Under neutral eyes, both ships extend small drones toward the nearest array node. There is a risk. A Varrin tech warns over the channel. It may have traps, self-destruct charges, or it may trigger a large signal burst. Sato answers. Use minimal touch, no power injection. Just local passive reading first. The drones approach slowly. Lights dim, they attach with soft grips, then begin to read surface data and passive storage fields. On your display, a new feed opens. Long, long, long. At first, just numbers, timestamps. Signal routes. You scroll faster. Patterns form mentions of fake distress calls sent toward certain systems at certain times. Subtle shifts in navigation marker strength to pull a ship a few thousand kilometers off ideal course. Slight added delay in emergency channels that turned close calls into deadly ones. Helen speaks softly, almost to herself. This thing has been busy. You begin to see labels in the logs, not in human or Varrin writing, but in code tags that Sol translation can map. Client A, Client B, Client K, Client K. Each client seems to be a different user group that paid or traded for access to the array. Look at this, you say, highlighting a segment. Client B requested a sequence of fake pirate raids across a border region 60 years ago. The array agreed to shape sensor ghosts and route false traffic. Payment. Access for Client B to use the array for their own border dispute 20 years later. Sato brings up more examples. Face hardening. Client K, 90 years ago, used the array to push a mining ship into a restricted zone, then leaked that data to the Varrin. Result, you launched a security action against a reckless local government and took over their corridor. Barry's cheeks flush pale. We did that, they say quietly. We were proud of that operation. We thought we uncovered their crime with sharp watch. Helen's voice stays calm. You were sharp, she says. You just did not know someone else arranged the crime first. Another log segment appears. Client D, 130 years ago. You read. Used the array to jam compact communications during a negotiation, making you think the other side broke contact. You ended the talks and sent in a punitive squadron. The squadron's path then passed, close to Client G's rival station, increasing fear and pushing trade in Client G's favor. Varu closes their eyes for a moment. When they open them again, there is a different light there. Not just anger, shame, yes, but also a kind of cold learning. This array, they say, has been a marketplace for tricks. Pirates, splinter states, corporations, even proper governments, all buying small lies, all thinking they control where the lies go. Helen nods. And behind those many hands a larger pattern, she says. Each use increases distrust. Each accident or raid makes big empires tighten control. Each overreaction justifies more arrays, more secret tools, more fear. You scroll to more recent entries. Look, you say. Client label hidden. Data scrubbed. But root shows Varrin space lanes. About 15 years ago, purpose field is erased, but result lines show raised panic state. In a mid-level system, that system later joined the compact under strong protection. So some part of us, or someone close to us, used this thing as well. They say, we are not just victims. We have been customers. Sato's tone is flat. So have many others, he says. Log tags show use by at least 6 of our neighbors, even a small soul faction 20 years ago. They thought they were clever, using a quiet relay to embarrass a rival habitat. They fed the same beast. The room feels colder. Somehow, the neutral monitors look uneasy, but they do not deny what they see. The logs speak more clearly than any argument. Helen takes a breath. Admiral Varu, she says, this array has been nudging us all into a long climb of tension. It did not create our pride, our fear, our greed. Those belong to us. But it used them. It linked them. It sold them. She gestures to the map again. It has been sitting in our backyard near our shipping lanes for centuries, and no major power stopped it. Most did not even look for it, because in small doses it was useful. Varu looks sickened. We came here to demand tribute, they say slowly, to say Soul had grown too fast, too wild, too ready to disrupt order. Instead, we find that order itself has been gamed. Again and again. While we marched in our firm routines, you feel a strange mix of relief and dread. Relief, because the pattern you sensed is real, not just in your mind. Dread, because the problem is bigger than the Varrin fleet. It reaches into every major state, including your own. Sato clears his throat. For now, the priority is simple, he says. Containment. We have found a major node of this network. We need to stop it from sending or receiving anything else before its operators, whoever they are right now. Notice we see them. Helen nods. We propose a joint lockdown, she says. Both Sol and Varrin ships will stand guard. No one touches the hardware without recorded, shared consent. No one deletes logs. No one uses it. We freeze it in place. Varu looks at the display of their powerful deep scan cruisers near the array. Their voice, when it comes, is tight but clear. Our first instinct, they admit, is to fire on it with everything we have, to blow it into dust, to erase the insult. Helen's gaze is steady. If you do that, she says, we lose the proof. We lose the logs. We lose the chance to trace its owners. Worse, others who use or run similar arrays will see the burst and go deeper, underground, we will have a victory that feels good and changes nothing. You add, destruction is simple, understanding is harder. But understanding might let us see the larger network, maybe even stop the rise in conflict that has been building for generations. Varu studies you, then looks back at the slowly turning shapes of the array. What do you suggest instead? They ask. Containment, not glory, Helen says. We place beacons around it that scream its presence to everyone. We shift its role from secret tool to known crime scene. We copy its logs in full and distribute them. We study them together. We trace money, tech, and patterns back to their sources. We can support that. Their lead says, our own states will insist on copies of the data. No single empire will own this story. Varu exhales slowly. If we agree to this plan, they say, it means accepting that our great fleet came to Sol not as pure strength, but as part of a larger problem we failed to see. It means leaving without the tribute we demanded. Perhaps even with our reputation questioned. Helen does not soften the truth. Yes, she says, it means that. It also means you leave having helped to reveal a tool that has humiliated every proud power in this region. Not just yours. It means you leave as participants in a joint investigation, not as bullies who fired blindly and ran. You feel the air in the room shift again, like it did when Priya asked about tea. This is another choice point. Varu looks down at the table where the empty teacups still sit in a neat row. Their hand rests near one of them, fingers brushing the smooth rim. At the edge of Sol, they say quietly, we stood ready to test your defenses. We thought you would answer like nervous children. You answered with rooms like this, with monitors, with logs. With this uncomfortable truth, they look up. Very well, Varu says. The Varrin Compact agrees, on record to pause aggressive aims here and join this containment. Our deep-scan ships will stand guard with your vessels. We will not destroy the array. We will help protect it as evidence. Sato quickly logs the agreement. The neutral monitors back it with their own seals. You feel a strange lightness in your chest, not joy. Something less sharp. More careful. A feeling that says, this could have gone very badly. It did not. There is still a lot that can break. But for now, the worst has been held back. On the outer feeds, Sol Patrol craft change course toward the marked zone in the asteroid belt. Their comms open wide, sending out clear signals of intent. No stealth, no tricks. Varrin cruisers hold steady near the strange devices. Their weapons stay cold, their sensors stay wide open. Together they surround the stealth relay array that has sat between rocks for longer than you have been alive, possibly longer than your grandparents have been alive. It has pushed roots, bent signals, and raised tempers across half a century and more. Now at last, it sits in the center of many eyes. Ellen lets out a slow breath and looks at you. Prepare a summary, she says, simple, clear, and honest. The whole network will be hungry for news. We will not let anyone twist this first story, if we can help it. You nod, already thinking in bullet points and timelines. Facts first, names later. No blame games yet. just the plain shape of what has been found. As you start work, you glance once more at the live data from the array. For the first time since you began studying these patterns, the interference lines are falling. The hidden pushes are quieting. Not because a weapon destroyed them, but because many different hands for once have agreed to stop and look straight at them together. You feel tired and also very awake. This is what you trained for, not to fire guns, to see patterns, to help others see them too. News of the array spreads fast. Within a day, every major channel in the local region carries some version of the story. None of them can twist the core facts because the logs and sensor feeds are already public. Summoned, anyone with time and patience can read them. The stealth relay array has a new name now in common talk. The Belt Network. People argue about who built it first, who used it worst, and who should have stopped it sooner. But under all the noise, the simple truth stands. Many hands fed it, many powers gained from it. No one truly controlled it. On Clark Gateway, you barely sleep. You move between analysis rooms, secure storage vaults, and the same glass meeting chamber where the tea was served. The station has become the heart of a slow, careful storm of work. In one room, a joint human Varrin team sifts through the array logs with cold focus. In another, legal experts from several states argue in steady voices about new rules for hidden tech. In a third, neutral monitors draft shared statements so no one can claim they discovered the network alone. In the center of it all, Helen Cho and Admiral Varu sit together far more often than anyone expected. Today, you stand by Helen's side again in the glass room. Admiral Priya Desai has joined this session in person, having arrived from the Seoul Defense Coordination Center. On a fast shuttle, she carries no formal weapon, only a small data key around her neck, and the same calm you saw when the fleet first arrived. Varu enters with 2 aides and a faint tightness around the eyes. The war fleet still waits at the edge of Seoul, but its posture has changed. Formations are looser. Some ships have even eased into low-power drift. They look less like a knife and more like a very sharp, very nervous guest. Helen greets Varu with the same respectful bow as before. Priya gives a nod that is almost like a salute, but not quite. Admiral, Priya says, "Thank you for keeping your people steady while this work continues." Varu gives a short laugh with no joy in it. "Our people are not used to standing still this long," they say. "They are trained to move, to strike, to show direction. Waiting under public eyes has been its own kind of battle." Helen gestures toward the table. A fresh tea tray sits at its center. The cups shine as if nothing big has happened at all. "Please sit." She says, "Today, we need to decide what happens next, not just to the array. To the story of this visit, everyone takes their places. You open your tablet and bring up the latest reports. Sato joins the session by live link, his face tired but alert on a small projection. Behind him you can see rows of techs still working on the logs from the Belt Network. "We have finished the first full pass through the array storage," he says. Without preface, it confirms what we suspected. The network has changed owners and clients. Many times, there is no single mastermind behind all uses. Instead, it grew like a market. He taps something off screen. A clean summary appears on the shared display. The earliest records, he continues, point to a pirate cluster about 200 years ago. They built the first few nodes to fake distress calls and draw targets into ambushes. Later, a minor splinter state took control, expanded the net, and used it to frame rivals. After that, it passed between at least 4 groups. Sometimes bought, sometimes stolen, sometimes nationalized by small governments. Varus' mouth pulls tight, and we, they say, and your people and others, all dipped into it when it suited us, or failed to question things that were too convenient. Sato nods. Yes, he says, we found clear links to compact internal services. We also found proof that a human faction used it 20 years ago to embarrass a rival station during a resource vote. We sent that to Priya already. You had seen that file yourself. It burned. Priya does not try to hide it. We have opened an inquiry, she says. The people responsible will face trial. The process will be public. The fact that we caught our own side in this does not change the truth. It proves the truth. Varu leans back, eyes on the ceiling for a moment. There will be calls in the compact to clean this with fire, they say, to say that anyone who touched this array at any time is unfit to lead or trade. That would be easy. It would make us feel pure. Helen's voice is mild. Easy, she says, and simple, and wrong, if you stop there. Varu looks at her. You want mercy? They ask, not quite hiding their doubt. I want accuracy, Helen answers. If every leader who ever used a dirty tool is thrown aside, you will have no leaders left in a week, including in soul, including me, perhaps, if we trace some choices far enough back. She folds her hands on the table. What matters more now, she says, is that we close this tool in a way that makes it hard for any new array to hide again. That means 3 things: safe capture, complete public audit, and new shared rules that everyone can watch. Varus, Aide, speaks up, careful and sharp. Our main question is simple, they say. Why not just destroy the array, now that we have copied its logs? Why keep it floating in your asteroid belt at all? Priya answers this time. Because copies are never perfect, she says. Because hardware holds secrets that logs do not. Power residue, physical wear, hidden modules that do not talk to main storage. If we blow it up, we may destroy evidence that reveals where the next array is already growing. You add quietly, and because the moment it explodes, every group running a similar relay out there will see the surge and shut down or change design. We would warn them too early. Varu drums, fingers on the table. So instead you keep it alive? They ask. Let it sit, silent, while we all stare at it. Helen gives a small smile. Not alive, she says. Under watch, like dangerous waste in a sealed bin. We drain its power. We disconnect its antenna, we wrap it in our eyes, and in clear law, one of the neutral monitors leans forward. Our states agree with this approach, she says. We wish to add our own sealing teams to the capture work, and we request that no single power control the final storage site. Sato nods on the screen. We have a proposal, he says. We convert a small old mining station near the belt into a joint containment hub. The array nodes will be moved there in pieces, under escort from both Sol and compact vessels. With neutral ships watching, the facility will be co-run by a team drawn from all signers of Tade's agreement. Varu raises an eyebrow. We share a prison for this thing, they say. A lab more than a prison, Sato corrects, but with bars thick enough. Helen looks at Varu. If the compact will sign such an agreement, she says, it will change how others see you. You came here with demands and guns. You could leave as the co-founders of a new kind of shared security system, one built on data and agreement, not just fear. You watch Varys face closely. The idea clearly pulls at them. Pride resists, but another part seems curious. And if we refuse? Varu asks. If we say, we will destroy this, and then resume our rightful pressure on Sol. Then Priya speaks, voice calm but iron. Then you will be the empire that smashed the evidence, she says, in front of the entire network. You will still have used the array. The logs are already out. You cannot put them back. You will just prove that you fear what more we might learn. Varu winces slightly. Priya's words are sharp, but they are not loud. She does not shout. She does not threaten with fleets. She threatens with story. Helen pours fresh tea and slides a cup toward Varu. This does not have to be a shameful visit, she says softly. It can be a turning point. For you and for us, instead of walking the same pattern again, threat, tribute, resentment, we can sketch a different line. Varu studies the tea for a long moment. Finally, they take a sip. Their shoulders loosen, just a little. Very well, they say. On behalf of the Varrin Compact Delegation, I will sign such an agreement. Our fleet will assist in capture. Not destruction, our legal corps will help write rules against these arrays. And we will accept that our own hands are not clean. The neutral monitors quickly confirm. Voices firm. Our states will commit enforcement resources. If any signers build or use a similar relay in secret again, they will be called out by all of us. Sato's image nods. I will begin drafting the technical annex, he says. With lunch, and I hope some sleep very soon. It is not loud, but it feels like light on tired faces. The next days are all logistics. Sol tugs and Varrin escorts move in careful paths toward the belt network. Drones detach the array nodes from their hiding spots and guide them into sealed containers. Engineers from 3 different states work side by side, arguing calmly about best ways to drain lingering power. Every motion, every order, every weld is recorded and stored in open logs. You ride a shuttle out to the old mining station that will serve as the new containment hub. Its hull is scarred from earlier work, but its structure is sound. Inside, crews have turned raw rock halls into clean rooms with double doors and heavy shields. You walk the main containment bay with Sato, who has taken temporary command of the technical side. There, he says, pointing. Node 7 from the outer ring. Look at the mix on its casing. You can see at least 3 different rebuilds. You study the metal. Old compact alloy near one seam, cheaper scrap near another. At some point, someone even used parts from a civilian communication satellite. It looks like a history of bad habits pressed into a single shell. Do you ever feel like just breaking it? You ask quietly, taking a hammer and smashing it into dust. Sato snorts. Of course, he says, but then it would win. You give him a puzzled look. This thing, he says, is not just metal. It is also every fear and shortcut that fed it. Smashing the shell would let people tell themselves, "We fixed it. It is over." They would stop asking hard questions. He pats the side of the sealed container, keeping it here, cold and studied. It stays as a mirror. People will have to look. You nod. You understand. It still feels strange to stand so close to something that has caused so much quiet harm. Back on Clark Gateway, the final talks begin about the Varrin fleet's exit. The glass room holds a smaller group. This time Helen, Priya, Varu, a single neutral monitor, and you. The tea tray appears again, like a quiet friend. Varu places a databand on the table near the cups. This, they say, is the official statement the compact will send to the network. They look at Helen and Priya. We submit it to you and to the monitors for review before we release it. You will see we have kept your systems roll honest. Helen picks up the band and scans it with a small reader. You see the draft appear on your display. It is surprisingly fair. The compact admits finding the array in joint action with Sol. It admits that compact services used it in the past, alongside many others. It frames the future not as Varrin rule over Sol, but as mutual security recalibration in this part of space, focusing on preventing hidden manipulation. There is still pride in the words. The compact emphasizes its strong response capacity and willingness to shoulder difficult duties. But there is also a new note: commitment to shared verification and awareness of past blind spots. Priya leans toward you, speaking low. "Well?" she asks. "What do you see?" You scan the text again, thinking like the analyst you are. They leave room to tell their people they did not lose, you say. They still sound strong, but they also tell the truth about the array. If we sign off on this, no one can honestly claim Sol knelt. The record will show cooperation, not tribute. Helen smiles faintly. Then we accept it, with minor changes to some dates and a clearer line about the neutral monitors. Roll, she says. Admiral Varu, we thank you for this draft. Varu exhales, shoulders dropping a little. Do not thank me yet, they say. I still have to sell this to my council. Some of them wanted a display of wreckage and obedience, not a stack of logs and a messy shared guilt. Priya speaks with quiet warmth. If they question your strength, she says, you can point to the fact that you could have fired on us at the edge of Sol. You did not. You could have blasted the array out of the sky. You did not. You did the harder thing, which is to sit in rooms like this and let data change your story. Varu studies her, then Helen, then you. Humans, they say, sounding almost amused now, are stranger than our old reports suggested. You care so much about process, about who sees what and in what order. You fight over narratives instead of raw zones. Helen's eyes soften. We used to fight over zones too, she says. We still can if pushed, but we learned that raw power without shared truth burns out fast. It took us many mistakes to learn it. We are still learning. The neutral monitor raises a small recording tool. We should capture a formal closing statement for our logs, she says. A simple record of what has been done and what will follow. They all agree. The monitor points the device toward the table. State your names and roles, she prompts. Helen Cho, Ambassador for Sol and surrounding human habitats. Helen says. Priya Desai, Admiral, Sol Defense. Priya adds. Varu Fleet Admiral Varrin Compact Expeditionary Force. Varu says, you hesitate for only a moment. Systems Analyst Sol Defense attached to Ambassador Cha's team, you say. Your name is recorded along with your title. It feels both small and important. The monitor nods. Summarize the outcome, she says. Helen speaks first. The Varrin Compact Fleet arrived at the edge of Sol with demands of inspection, tribute, and permanent oversight, she says. Voice clear. Sol declined those demands. Both sides agreed to meet under neutral observation on Clark Gateway. Priya continues. In those talks, shared data revealed the presence of a stealth relay array in the Sol asteroid belt. She says, logs from the array showed long-term manipulation of traffic and incidents across multiple systems by many different groups. Varu takes the next part without flinching. Evidence confirmed that the Varrin Compact, Sol factions, neighboring states, and criminal groups all used or benefited from the array at times, they say. The array increased fear and conflict. It did so without the full knowledge of any major power. You add the last piece. Sol, the Varrin Compact, and neutral states agreed to contain, not destroy, the array, you say. They are moving its nodes to a shared facility for study under joint control. New rules are being drafted to ban hidden relay arrays and to require open verification of major incidents. The monitor stops the recording and gives a small smile. That will do, she says. This will go into the public archive for all signers. Varus stands. Then our last task here, they say, is to say goodbye in a way that will not cause panic. Helen nods. Your fleet's departure path has been plotted, she says. It will pass well clear of key civilian routes. We will broadcast your joint statement at the same time you do. The story will be clear. You came. You saw. We all found something worse than a rival power, and we acted on it together. Priya offers her hand across the table. Varu looks at it for a heartbeat, then takes it. Their grip is firm and brief. If you come back, Priya says, come as visitors, not as a test. Varus' mouth curves in a thin smile. If we come back, they reply, bring tea. Later, you stand by a wide viewport as the Varrin fleet begins to move. Long lines of metal turn in slow unison, then bend away from Sol, back toward the wider network of lanes. Drives flare. The ships shrink, pulling distance between your home and their sharp hulls. Around you, station staff watch in silence. There is no cheering, no songs, just a long, slow breath that many people share. Helen comes to stand beside you. How do you feel? She asks. You think about it. Tired, you say. Worried, but also a little proud. Of yourself, she asks, eyes kind. Of us, you answer, we did not shoot. We did not kneel. We turned a fleet into a meeting. We turned a hidden tool into a public thing. Helen nods. It will not fix everything, she says. There will be more arrays somewhere. More tricks, more proud fleets. But this time we set a different example. She looks out at the thinning glints of Varrin ships. Centuries from now, she says, students will read about the test of Sol. Some will say it was about our guns and ships. But if we have done this right, the real story they will see is this. When pushed toward a fight, humans chose to slow down. To make lists, to pour tea, to show their enemy the full truth, even when it showed our own sins too. You watch the fleet fade into the deep dark, then vanish from local sensors as they slip into faster-than-light lanes. On your tablet, a new job list waits. Work on the Containment hub, drafting new joint protocols, training sessions for young analysts on how to spot interference signatures early. Long, boring things that will never make dramatic songs. You find you like that. Glory burns bright and fast. Containment checklists, shared logs, and honest tea last longer. You turn away from the viewport and head back toward the data rooms where the belt network waits in its new cage and where a stack of unanswered questions waits with it. This is your work. Not to win wars, to notice when someone tries to push you into one, and to help your people choose another path.